The WNBA is a unique market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on a side, you don't go from 11 and a half to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not, but that's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to hour number 3, live right here on the early line on SportsGrid on this Thursday. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. One more hour to go up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. A ton of Open Championship conversation coming your way in this third and final hour as round number 1 over at Royal Troon is now officially underway as well. Tiger Woods on the course, par through his first hole to start off his opening round. He's playing with Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. Justin Thomas remains atop the leaderboard, already warm and comfortable into the clubhouse, a 3 under 68 to start his first round. The story of the day, some struggles at Troon. Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, Bryson DeChambeau, Ludwig Oberg, they are all well over par, at least 4 over at this stage late into their opening round. So we've got JT at the top, some of the big names behind him starting to struggle, still awaiting Scottie Scheffler to tee off his opening round. That comes our way in just about 10 minutes' time.
You take a look at this week, right? Not a ton going on across the sports landscape, but Ben, Donnie, bringing it 3 hours today. I mean, there's some other, I imagine, there's other hosts out there across the nation that go, we just can't do a show today. There's nothing to talk about. When the action is being brought to you front and center in the morning to make sure you're ready for today, to make sure you're ready for tomorrow, and the rest of your sporting weekend here. So shout out to people putting in work today. Don't shout out to people taking off today. Just remember that.
Oof, that seemed like it was a direct shot at somebody. But we want to hear from people at all times. We want you guys involved. By the way, Bryson DeChambeau parring his final 2 holes, 5 over par in his opening round. Of course, the most recent major winner that we saw at Pinehurst in North Carolina at the United States Open. So we wanted to hear from the people. Are you gassed up? Are you staying up late into the overnight hours or maybe waking up super early to catch all of the action over in Scotland? Are you a true golf sicko? Do you love the Open Championship? Or which of the 4 majors in men's golf is your favorite? That was our question in Fade the Public. You knew the books were a little bit juiced. You knew what the answer was going to be before the question really was even asked, but did have to be asked. At SportsGrid on Twitter, of golf's 4 major championships, which is your favorite? The PGA, the Masters, the Open, or the U.S. Open. The Masters running away with this poll, and correctly so, more than 78% of the vote. I am surprised, however, that the Open is ever so slightly in front of the U.S. Open, 11% of the vote, and the United States Open just about under 8.
Yeah, well, here's what we go. And I bring this up in the past, right? You're confusing the people out here. Some people see U.S. Open and go like, yeah, I like that golf tournament. And other people might say, I like that tennis tournament. So that might throw it out of whack. But also, if we just added the official, the British Open, that'd be around 20%. Because quite frankly, I think some people don't understand what the Open actually is, so they just passed on it. Yeah. Therefore, the Masters gets a free pass. And by the way, shout out to people. You are sometimes you don't get it right. You nailed it here. The PGA Championship, by this effect that we're looking at right now, maybe shouldn't even be a championship anymore, right? It should just be banished and, just a regular. The Rocket Mortgage Classic is on pace right now with the PGA Championship at this point. And the people are so right on this. The PGA nobody looks forward to the PGA Championship, Ben. Nobody.
I'm pretty sure that as we got ready for the PGA Championship at Valhalla in Kentucky, Donnie was saying how excited he was for this weekend of golf. Of course, it was a big story that Friday when Scottie Scheffler was arrested for trying to enter the gates there at Valhalla. But the public is correct. The Masters is what we think of. It's the tradition. It's the pageantry. Perfection. It's the nostalgia. It takes us out of our long winter with the thought of the blooming azaleas there in Augusta, Georgia. It is the most historic. It has the most significance. It will always win this vote. However, it does need to be stated, the Open is the official name. It is the oldest of all 4 major championships and gets to have that distinction. But let's peel back the curtain ever so slightly. I used to work at Golf Magazine in their video department. And anytime we would attach a video or an audio source to an article, we had to make sure the SEO, that search engine optimization, did not only just have the Open, which is what it technically needed to be, but the British Open in the title as well, because many people still search for the British Open. There you go, Donnie.
Now, by the way, explain yourself on this one here. You work at a magazine, but we're in video. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. What is that? I mean, come on.
Digital days, my friend. Digital days. Let's keep pace.
Did you ever write? Did you ever write the articles? Did you ever get printed in the articles? Man.
No, technically I was kind of off the books. I was operating as an independent contractor, but the holding company of Golf Magazine didn't know that I was there. A little bit dicey for some times.
Wow, sneaking in the back door at that point. You got to get your foot in the business, man. I do appreciate that, though. But shout out a magazine. You're doing digital for it. I love that. Love to see it, man.
I was trying. The revamped video department. Obviously, didn't end that well. That's why I'm here alongside Dr. Nightside on the early line here on SportsGrid. All right, some updates now from the Open Championship. Rory trying to save par. I believe he did out of the sand on his 17th hole. We shared Bryson DeChambeau ends his opening round at 5 over. Justin Thomas still remains in the lead at 3 under par. There is a group of 4 golfers also all in the house already. Alex Noren, Nikolai Hogard, Justin Rose, and Russell Henley that are 2 under, carding a 69. As of this moment, Donnie, there's only 12 golfers even under par. And of those 12, 8 are already done with their rounds. So to tee off in these afternoon hours over at Troon, you got the worst of the weather draw. As I look to my right and see the broadcast at this moment, Scottie Scheffler on his first tee, about to tee off here at the Open Championship.
Yeah, by the way, looking at some of those, do we have there we go, the round leader. Let me just take a look at that live market. A minus 115 for Justin Thomas. I actually think that makes a lot of sense, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're expecting based on what we've seen so far, he's the best round of the day, and we're not getting those indications like, hey, man, that afternoon wave or that afternoon flight, they're really going to take advantage of great weather. That's not the case. That minus 115 price isn't bad. Or if you're just saying, look, Scottie Scheffler is a cyborg. He wins anywhere, any weather, on any golf course. 11-1 to basically be 3 under or less is kind of crazy. Now, the dead heat rules apply. Does that mean you half the number you get? What exactly? Like, let's just say Scheffler and Thomas tie. Okay.
I believe that's exactly what it means. That
6-1.
Solo is you get the full payout. Donnie, that's a great point. I'm actually going to go bet it. There's a 25% profit boost that you can use each and every day for every round of the Open Championship on our lovely sponsors, the FanDuel Sportsbook. So I just bet it, use that 25% boost to get it up to plus 109. The guys trailing him are all in-house. Yes, somebody could make a run, but JT posted that 3 under par 68. I think is a really, really good number. And yes, Scotty Scheffler is a cyborg. He is the most dominant golfer on planet Earth at this moment. And even though he didn't win at the U.S. Open, didn't even finish top 10, sure he didn't play last week at the Scottish Open, he is still Scotty Scheffler. But just to put it into context, his round one over-under was 71.5. It goes to show what the weather conditions are like for the latter half of the field playing in the afternoon hours at Troon. 71.5 is even par. If he even goes under that number of 71 and a hook, could be even, could be a few shots under, but that's not the expectation. Wasn't like his price was 68.5 trying to tie JT as our round one leader.
Yeah, no, it's some interesting ways to bet here on a day that we're seeing not so low scores, which quite frankly, we're used to seeing 5, 6, 7 under, breaking records here on round number one. I love this. True test of golf here. Keep Mother Nature in the mix here. Let's have some fun over the next 3 days.
And we'll get an explanation on what we are seeing live right now at the 152nd Open Championship from our guy, Charlie Hulme. He joins us for a second straight day for 2 consecutive segments. Up next to break down the Open here on the Early Line.
The WNBA is a unique market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on a side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Round number one underway across the pond at the 152nd Open Championship at Royal Troon. He was here before the tournament got underway yesterday. He is here now as round number one carries on in the afternoon wave with names like Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Tiger Woods on the course as we speak. Charlie Hulme joins us once again, the producer and the co-host of The Smiley Show. Smiley's over across the pond in Scotland. Charlie and Smiley have been talking all week long to get you set for the Open. That will continue throughout the weekend. And Charlie joins us here on this Thursday to talk everything about what we are seeing at Troon. Charlie, we appreciate the time. What time did you wake up this morning to tune into round number one?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, Ben and Donnie, great being back with you all to chat Major Championship Golf. This is a real tangent, but I'm trying to work on my cardio a little bit. So I got up for a little early 6 a.m. tennis session with my buddy at the club. I was up about 5:30, flipped the coverage on, put it on my phone. We were out hitting around, got a nice little 30, 45 minutes in on the court, and then came back and continued watching. So we even got a cold plunge in on the back end, if you all can believe that. So I am just the mind's in a good place, the body's in a good place, and we got Open Championship Golf on. It's an amazing day.
The endorphins are bumping. That's why we love having Charlie Hulme here to take a look at the in-live action that we have throughout this tournament. So, Charlie, let's start with the big news of the day. Justin Thomas, 3 under par, stands alone, the top of the leaderboard at this moment, firing an opening round 68. Donnie and I'm not sure if you heard us as we were breaking things down, looking at those live odds. JT right now is a minus 115 price to be your round one leader. Donnie and I both think that's a good bet with the 4 guys behind him at 2 under par, already in the clubhouse as well. In the afternoon, conditions looking like a Scottish summer. A ton of wind and some rain picking up at Troon. What did you make of JT's opening round? What do you think the rest of the first round holds for JT to maybe wake up tomorrow as your round one leader?
Yeah, I did hear you all discussing that. I also heard about your stint as a rogue video editor on Golf Magazine, which I'd love to dive into at some point. That sounds like fun. Yeah. I love that bet. I can't believe I really liked JT so much coming in the week, and I can't believe I let Smiley didn't talk me off it, but it was just looking at last week. He opened with, I think it was either a 61 or a 62 at the Renaissance Club for the Scottish Open. And this is a guy who is, when he's on his A game, is one of the best win players in the world. Like, if we go back to the Players Championship, I want to say it was 2021 or 2022. It's a shot that is still seared into my memory in the howling wind at TPC Sawgrass. He's got like a 200-yard shot and like feathers a 5-wood in there to a few feet, and finishes as one of the only guys without a bogey on his card that day. So this guy, he can draw the ball, he can cut the ball, he can do everything that you need to do playing in these sort of conditions to succeed and shoot a score. The hang-up for Justin has been the putter for a long, long time. And it's not like he necessarily puts a bad stroke on the ball or is missing the hole. It's just a lot of times it's like he doesn't get the speed right or doesn't get the read right. And so you have a lot of putts that are, he needs a par save and he can't make it, or he really needs a birdie to get a little bit deeper and he can't buy that. And then you kind of end up with the sort of middle of the round road. And when his ball striking isn't good, that's where you get the really bad rounds we've seen the past couple years at majors. He has just switched to, I think it's like the newest version of the Scotty Cameron Phantom putter. He was in a blade for a little while. He went from mallet to blade, back to mallet. And he is rolling this thing great. Like, I know it's really, really early in the tournament right now, so the numbers are going to move, but he's gained 3 strokes on the field putting in this first round. So if he continues to putt like he did in that first round at the Scottish Open and like he did today, not only do I like him finishing as a first round leader, I think this is a guy that, he's got the pedigree. He could win this tournament if he keeps playing like this.
Charlie, if we take a look, there's 13 guys right now under par. Now, typically in a major championship, you'd say, wow, where are the names out here? This guy's a multiple major winner. This guy's a dominant force. Now, there are some major winners in there, which, again, Justin Thomas is up there. Justin Rose is up there. Does this signal, and again, it's Thursday, a lot's going to change till Sunday, that maybe somebody's going to win this that was way off our radar, just the way this golf course is going to play over the next 3 to 4 days?
It's a theme and a pattern, Donnie, that is not unfamiliar at Open Championships. I mean, shoot, we saw it last year with Brian Harmon kind of coming out of nowhere. Yep. I think it definitely could set up for a first-time winner because it's going to be a guy that, for whatever reason, is not made uncomfortable by the conditions that we're going to see this week. I mean, I was watching all morning long, guys like John Rahm who love cutting the ball, and it's like there's just no shot he can play. Like, he's just going further and further left, and the ball's still kind of getting up in the air and just floating and going right, and he can't finish it on his intended finish line. And so I just think there are a lot of guys like that who are just going to be a little uncomfortable all week long. Some of the big names we'd expect to play well who just aren't going to do that. So I could definitely see a guy who we didn't really expect. I mean, I'm looking at the top of the board here. A guy who I loved coming into this week who really fit the profile is Sepp Straka, who's 200 through 8 holes right now. This guy draws the golf ball, very accurate off the tee, very good with his approach game. If Sepp hangs around these first 2 rounds, this could be a chance for him.
25-1 on Sepp Straka to win this outright. Really probably the only threat to Justin Thomas at this moment, it would seem, although still very early in the afternoon wave, to knock him off that round 1 leader. All right, Charlie, are you ready? Rory McIlroy walking up the 18th fairway right now. 6 over par on his opening round. Had the second best price entering the tournament. What has gone wrong for Rory on this opening Thursday?
I'm going to remind myself that nobody's more upset about the golf he's playing than Rory McIlroy. I'm going to try to do that to take the sting off me picking him to win a one and done this week, which I am regretting almost immediately. I think, look, there's been some criticism around Rory's decision-making, some of which has been pinned on his caddy. He's rebutted that and said, look, you're not out there. You have been in this position. I'm not saying I have been, so I don't know what it's like when they're having conversations about club selection and course strategy. What I do know is this. There's been a lot of bad course strategy I've seen today. You know, the way they played the postage stamp, the way he took driver at 11, hit it OB, ends up making a double there. I don't understand some of the decisions he's making. If he doesn't want to put that on Harry Diamond as his caddy, fine. But he's got to own up to some of that and clean that up if he wants to play better.
Folks, I've got news. Tiger Woods, a birdie, a long ball on 3. Eldrick's 1 under through his first 3 holes. We'll talk about the big cat with Charlie up next.
The WNBA is a unique market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on a side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
As I said in the closing seconds before our last commercial break, Tiger Woods, a long bomb from off the green at 3, had to play it about 18 inches out wide to the right, nails a birdie putt. Tiger Woods, 1 under par through his first 3 holes at the Open Championship. Charlie Hulme joins us here for a second consecutive segment on the early line. Charlie, Donnie and I have said all week long leading up to the Open, we just talked about it during the break. Can Tiger Woods win his 4th claret jug in his career? More than likely, no. 250-1 before the tournament to be the champion golfer of the year. But can he provide some moments of glory as we just saw at number 3? Yes, Eldrick certainly still can. What are your expectations for Tiger Woods throughout this opening round and the entirety of the Open?
Let's all put on our positive Sunday red thinking caps here and just say, what's our best case scenario, right? I love this start for Tiger because I'm looking at the core stats right now. It's changed a little bit, but as we speak, the front 9 is playing close to a half shot harder than the back 9. So Tiger makes birdie at 3 and just keep it on the rails with some of those challenging holes on the front, namely the postage stamp, which again, as a guy who understands how to flight shots better than maybe anybody out here, you can get a 3 and get out of there unscathed. That puts him in a really good place to go out and score on the back 9 and be in that group that is seeing red next to their name after day 1, which would be a phenomenal result for Tiger Woods. I think that we talked about it yesterday too. This is one of the better suited major championship tests for Tiger because it's usually a flatter walk. It's less of a toll on his body. You know, you could look at the weather right now. It looks pretty miserable out there and say maybe that wears on him a little bit, but less so than maybe we've seen other places where there's been weather for majors for him in years past. So I wonder if we get to the weekend and it becomes more of a challenge like we've seen at some other majors. But to start where he started, 1 under par on a front 9 that's playing tough, if he keeps it going, we got a chance, man. We could be believing in Tiger come the weekend.
Also, when you're taking a look at a player perspective here, Charlie, right? And I said this to start the show. I don't think it, like, let's just say the Open winner was going to be 19 under par. Doesn't really play into Tiger's wheelhouse at this point of his career. Back in the day, sure, he'll go as low as anybody can ask him to do so. But if we're looking at a tournament where you're basically relying on shot making, creativity, and being able to handle the elements, this seems like a perfect storm for Tiger Woods. Now, Ben and I were talking about, can he win it? Maybe not. But making the cut here, being competitive on Saturday, being competitive on Sunday, something we haven't seen in a long time. Talk to us just about the shot-making creativity that Tiger can use to an advantage where some other players can't do that.
You nailed it, Donnie. I mean, that is what he has that others don't necessarily have. And it's, you know, where we've seen him kind of loose in some majors are those sort of full shots where it's tough for him to rotate his body and get his club face to the positions he needs to strike the ball well consistently. And you can see the frustration on his face in those moments of kind of big pushes or blocks off the tee. But if you're not hitting full shots, right? If you're hitting kind of these low runners that don't really require a full turn, and you're keeping the ball kind of between the lines and trying to avoid the big numbers, it suits him very, very well. So I think, it's going to be a matter of how much of a toll do these elements take on his body. But, if you don't need to be really putting the pedal to the floor in terms of exerting yourself physically because you're hitting a bunch of half shots, feely shots, that's great for him. That's right where he wants to be all weekend long.
Tiger Woods on the course, as is world number 1, Scottie Scheffler, an opening bogey at his first hole of the Open Championship. The pre-tournament favorite, Charlie, at plus 450. Scottie's still the favored number live right now, but does move back by 50 cents, a 5-1 price. Will Scottie Scheffler be in contention for the claret jug come Sunday afternoon?
It was Scottie Scheffler. I never doubt Scottie Scheffler. Like he'll be in the top 10. I can guarantee you that right now. Whether or not the gap is so big that he's in contention, it'll be tough to say. But this is a guy that it's just going to come down to putting, and a guy like Justin Thomas who struggled with it, putted great today. Like if Scottie can go out and have a day like that, he's going to be in a great spot. If he struggles a little bit and some of those 8 to 10 footers you need to save to keep yourself in contention are missing and they're getting bumpy and they're not rolling the way he wants to, it's going to be a little tougher. But, he'll be in and around it. He'll be in that top 10 on Sunday. It's just a matter of if he's close enough within striking distance to win.
Minus 165, the number now on Scheffler to finish top 10, despite being won over through his very first hole. Charlie Hulme, we appreciate the time over these past 2 days. Enjoy the weekend at the Open.
Appreciate it, guys. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you very, very soon. MLB at the All-Star break. Some second half predictions next.
The WNBA is a unique market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on a side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The final full day of the Major League Baseball All-Star break before the home stretch in the second half of this regular season continues with a full slate Friday tomorrow. Every team around the bigs, that's all 30 clubs, have played at least 95 of their 162 regular season games. So not exactly the midway point of the year, but the second half of the season, if you will. So to get you set and to project what we think we will see all the way through October, we have a little bit of a pick six here. Here are the 6 components of our pick 6. A World Series exacta. Who wins the World Series and the 2 pennant winners that will face off. A team to watch for any reason. A postseason contender. Somebody we expect to make a flurry of deals in the next 2 weeks before that MLB trade deadline. A player to watch in the second half of this year. Will the hefty favorites Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani both win the MVP awards? Our favorite award bet in those markets at this moment, and our best playoff bet, a team to contend for one of those playoff spots around MLB. If that was confusing, all 6 components of the pick 6 for the second half will continue to refresh over these next 2 segments. But DRS, let's start it off with our World Series predictions. What is your updated World Series matchup, and who goes home a World Series champion in early November this year in 2024?
Let's go back to 2009, where the Philadelphia Phillies took on the New York Yankees. That's who I believe is going to meet up here in the 2024 World Series, and that is at a 15-1 price. I think the Phillies are the best team overall in the National League, and I do think that if the changes are made at the deadline and both teams are equal between the Dodgers and the Phillies, that means they each make a move. It's like, okay, that got them a little bit better, that got them a little bit better. I think that stands up. I just can't have those Los Angeles Dodgers go out there and go crazy at the deadline and be like, what is going on in Major League Baseball? Is going to have a meeting at the end of the season where most teams are going to quit because the Dodgers have an unfair playing advantage. Outside of that, I think the Phillies will be fine. Also, the New York Yankees not playing their best baseball into the All-Star break. We understand that. They, quite frankly, through the first, April and May, should have held a lead over the Baltimore Orioles, slipped that up a little bit, but within one game here. But again, it's not about winning the regular season and or even the division itself. How do you think this team is going to set up for the playoffs? I think the Yankees will be just fine. So for me, Phillies over the Yankees at a 15-1 price in this year's World Series.
So slightly different than 2009. That's the last time the Yankees won a World Series crown, the last time they even won an American League pennant. But the Phillies on top, DRS, I would have to agree. Now, I think people could look at you and say, oh, Donnie likes the Phillies, the biggest Philadelphia fan we know. Sure, makes sense. I like the Phillies too. And here's why I have the Phils over my hometown Dodgers in the National League pennant market and to win a World Series. Because I know the Dodgers are really banged up. But even at full strength, maybe you give the Dodgers a slight edge offensively. I think at full strength, I still give an advantage to the Phils in terms of their starting staff and maybe every pitcher they have in their club. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, who has been sensational this year. And Donnie, when you look at Suarez's stats, the last 2 October runs, Red October for Philadelphia, he's been as good as you could want from a postseason starter. Give me the Phils versus the Dodgers in that pitching edge, thus leading Philadelphia to a World Series appearance. And I believe in Baltimore. This was my World Series prediction before the year. The Phillies and the O's, I still have confidence in it. I think the O's will learn from last year, being the number 1 overall seed in the American League postseason, but getting bounced in the division round in a sweep against the reigning champs, the Texas Rangers. I believe Baltimore will invest in another arm at the trade deadline. I think Baltimore wins the American League. So Phillies over the O's for my World Series exacta.
It makes sense, too. And also, you take a look at the price points between Ben and myself, 15-1 and 17-1. So we're not as far going out on a limb, but it just goes to show you how closely packed the Orioles and the Yankees are on the opposite side to make only a $2 difference in that overall price point. And I really like the Baltimore Orioles. And again, it's on their management group because sometimes it's, let's just say neither one makes a move here. You're probably the Orioles actually like that a little bit more, but we know the Yankees and their history, particularly under the great George Steinbrenner, who's, hey, get me the best 3 pitchers on the market. I don't care what the price is. Let's make sure we win another World Series. We'll see how these teams react, but it's fun that we're asking this question this week because I know once we hit August 1st, we're going to ask these same questions again because some of these teams are going to look quite different down the back stretch.
And Donnie, I think that's a great point because right now, those 4 teams that we have mentioned, nobody picked the Dodgers, but we alluded to LA, of course, in the contention for the NL pennant. The Dodgers, the World Series favorites, plus 320. The Phils behind by only $1, plus 420. The Yankees, plus 550. The O's, a 7-1 number. Those 4 teams grouped by less than a $4 distinction. So we know that the Major League Baseball postseason in the expanded era has been chaotic. We saw 2 wild card teams last year that came in 6th in the standings. Those final wild card spots play for a World Series, the Rangers over the Diamondbacks. But to Donnie's point, the next time the odds really move drastically will be in a trade. And regardless of what the trade deadline holds in MLB, I would still say, unless things go haywire for any of these 4 clubs, and I mean in a drastic way, that the Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, and Orioles DRS will enter October, will enter the postseason with the 4 best prices to win a World Series. So you're not missing out on value necessarily at this moment. Sure, things can be chaotic throughout that postseason bracket, but I still believe in this big 4, if you will, and the Braves just behind, being there atop the odds board by the time we get to the end of 162.
Correct. And you're also, because the odds aren't going to change dramatically, as you said, which is right. But your opinion could be able to change. Like, what if I told you today, Ben, like, you know what? The Orioles and the Yankees are the 2 best teams. And at trade deadline night, 15 minutes before the deadline hits, the Baltimore Orioles wind up with Tarek Skubal as if he gets moved from the Tigers. That's going to change my opinion on this. And I would say, you know what, Ben? You were exactly correct at that point. Now the Orioles are the best team here. So you're looking at maybe one player on one of these teams shifting over of who I think is going to win the World Series or get to the World Series. It could be that way.
Yeah, and Donnie, I think it's spot on with the Yankees as well. From the odds assessment, the Yanks were the best team in baseball on June 14th. Nearly 30 games above 500, the first to 50 wins at 50-22 in the last month. Just 8-18. But don't take Donnie's word for it or our assessment of the Pinstripes. Still the third best price to win the World Series and the best price to win the American League pennant. Now a team to watch. Who has your eye, Donnie, throughout this stretch run?
Team to watch here, and there's a lot of different ways you can anticipate this. Maybe it's a team to watch that they're going to be sellers at the deadline. Maybe it's a team that's going to be buyers at the deadline. I simply went with the Texas Rangers, and I talked about it 2 weeks ago. Give me a team with the pedigree and the talent to win a world championship, but also give me a price point that suggests they might not even make it into the playoffs at this point. So a team to watch for me is the Texas Rangers. Thinking they can win the World Series, I'm not so sure, but I do think that AL West is going to be so tight down the stretch that with 2 weeks to go in the season, the Rangers are going to be in the thick of it. And it's not as if they're having a 12-1, 15-1, or 20-1 price point to win this year's World Series. It's 60-1 now. It was 80-1 about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago at this point. So I'll be watching the Rangers to see how we react, because that team is way too talented not to finish over 500.
Donnie, we'll show our playoff best bets in a moment, but that's the way I would attack things for Texas. Winners of 7 of their last 9 entering the break. And, of course, the Astros. The Rangers right now, albeit 4 games below 500, have a better chance of winning the AL West, only 5 games behind Seattle, than they do of making the American League wild card. They're 7.5 games back in that component of the Red Sox, who are my team to watch down the home stretch of this year. Boston, 11 games above 500 in the third and final American League wildcard spot, but the Red Sox have played some great baseball in the last month. I think they have a young and exciting offensive lineup. Jarren Duran, who just won, of course, the All-Star Game MVP. Rafael Devers on a heater the last 2 weeks into the break. And Tanner Houck is the ace for the Sox. Cutter Crawford has been great throughout this season for Boston as well. I think Boston could be that wild card team come October, as we have seen the last few years, that could make a little bit of noise and maybe cause a little bit of chaos. More in our second half pick 6 up next.
The WNBA is a unique market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on a side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
DeMar DeRozan now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. Just a couple of quick updates from the Open Championship. Tiger bogeying his fourth hole, the par 5 fourth, now back to even par. Birdie the third, a long birdie putt, bogeyed that par 5 fourth. Brooks Koepka has gone birdie. He's back to even par after his fifth hole, and Scotty Scheffler still remains 1 over par through his first 2. Patrick Cantlay, playing alongside Tiger Woods, made a long birdie putt on number 4. He's back to even. Cantlay's caddy now is Joe LaCava, who was Tiger's former caddy. Tiger gave him his blessing to go find greener pastures because Woods wasn't playing nearly as much. Just an interesting wrinkle to that pairing. All right, we're 1 day away from the second half of the Major League Baseball season fully getting underway. A full slate on Friday. It's the final day to reset here at the All-Star break. We continue our second half projections and picks here in the MLB Pick 6. We gave you a team to watch from a variety of components, player to watch in the same way. Just a superstar to highlight or a player that might make the difference for their club. Who is that guy for you, DRS?
Yeah, teased at the start of the show, somebody from the Atlanta Braves. Someone was like, okay, who's that going to be? Oh, it's got to be, Chris Sale at the top of that rotation. Well, there's another guy that's been dominant at the top of that rotation. It's Ronaldo Lopez. Yeah. The reason I bring him up is the expectations for Lopez coming to the Atlanta Braves was just like a look-see. Maybe the guy can be a fifth starter. Maybe he can fit into our bullpen as a long relief guy. He's turned into one of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball over the first half of the season. If you get that same effort out of Ronaldo Lopez on the second half of the season, along with Chris Sale still being as dominant as he is, that's a formidable 1-2 punch here that you weren't looking at before the season started at all. You were hoping you were just going to get innings possibly out of those two guys, let alone maybe the best 1-2 punch technically outside of at Nola and Wheeler in Philadelphia in the National League. So I want to keep an eye on here on Ronaldo Lopez, because if you get the same, as I said, performance expectations out of the first half they have in the second half, and it carries over into the playoffs where now you line up with Chris Sale with like a 2 ERA and Lopez with like a 2 ERA. Why not the Atlanta Braves? Now, the reason I want to watch him is I don't know if he can hold up over the second half with the same expectations here. And if he doesn't, that's certainly going to put a little bit of a wrinkle here in what you think the Atlanta Braves can do down the stretch. But right now, he's my player to watch, because if he's phenomenal, the Braves have a legitimate chance to maybe try to do some damage in the playoffs.
A 1.88 ERA for Ronaldo Lopez. That's the best in baseball. He is the only guy with a sub-2.4 ERA at this moment. The Braves now have the pitcher with the best ERA in baseball and the starter with the most wins, Chris Sale, who is 13-3. That's all without Spencer Strider this year. And small ball and pitching success has been the formula for Atlanta. Most unders in all of MLB, 56, the only team around the bigs that has played more than 60% of their games to the under, 62.2%. DRS, yesterday, we looked at some of those potential buyers and sellers ahead of the trade deadline that comes our way in just over a week and a half. And we looked at the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Phillies, and we highlighted for those first 4 teams, probably going after another starter or a bullpen guy to add to the rotation. For Atlanta, it's probably trying to get one of those big bats on the market as of this moment. One of those big bats in the first half, Bobby Witt Jr., the $280 million man for the Kansas City Royals, an all-star, of course, featuring in that home run derby final to Teoscar Hernandez. I expect Bobby Witt Jr. to continue what he has done here in the second half. He is one of the bright young stars in all of the sport. That will be on display. And we have our kindred ties, DRS, to KC. The Pasquatch, Vinny Pasquantino, your guy, Michael Massey, Bobby Witt Jr. leading the way for the Royals. The Royals only 2.5 games back, or 2 games back, rather, of that third and final wild card spot in the American League. Kansas City 52-45 makes me very happy. It's one of my 2 preseason bets from a win total perspective entering this Major League Baseball season. The Royals over 73.5 wins, very much on pace, courtesy of Bobby Witt Jr., just to name a few.
Absolutely, and certainly he is going to be the catalyst there. He's been absolutely, like, sometimes it's hard to say. We talk about Caitlin Clark exceeding expectations. How could that happen? Like, Bobby Witt Jr. wasn't like, hey, man, my father used to play in Major League Baseball and everything's fine. I just want to make that. No, he is sensational. He's paid like a superstar. And how about this, Ben? For the Royals to pay that much money for a player, you damn well know he's a really good player and a can't-miss prospect. Yeah. And it is going to be interesting to see if he can single. That's not fair to say because Salvador Perez, they got some good players in there. But it feels like
they got some great players.
Catalyst for that engine on that Royals team is Bobby Witt Jr. He continues to dominate. They're probably going to make the playoffs, which is saying something for Kansas City.
Yeah, now and beyond for KC for sure. A young core that maybe reminds of the 2015 Royals. So we shared this earlier. Aaron Judge minus 370 to win the AL MVP. Shohei Ohtani minus 380 to win the National League MVP. We asked, will both of those guys win the MVP hardware? I said yes. Donnie said no. DRS, if you don't believe that both Judge and Ohtani will win the MVP awards, who unseats them?
I don't know who unseats him. I'm just betting on like an injury at that point, just to put the no, because it seems too easy for two guys to cruise, knowing we still have all of August and all of September to go, as if you can't get injured or have a slump. That's the only reason why I vote no. Right now, if the season ends today, yes, they're going to walk away with the MVPs, but we still got a lot of games left to go, a lot of struggles, and maybe an IL stint or two. So that's why I'm voting no right there.
All right, fair enough. I guess injury is the guy to unseat both Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. I think we're getting close to when that market would be available. Can you bet both Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge? No, cannot be combined. But minus 370, Aaron Judge versus the field, Shohei Ohtani minus 380. What is your best award bet as we continue here in the Pick Six?
If the Phillies continue to win at the same clip they have and clinch the #1 overall seed in the National League, Manager of the Year, Rob Thompson, at a plus money price at a 125 makes the most sense for me at this point. So you're taking a look at expectations, yes, were high for the Philadelphia Phillies, but also expectations were high for a couple other ball clubs out there. The Phillies are exceeding expectations right now with the best start in their franchise history. They could wind up with the most wins in their franchise history, and that's a plus money number. Give me Rob Thompson.
Even money right now on Pat Murphy, the first-year skipper for the Milwaukee Brewers, but just 25 cents back is Rob Thompson. I would have to agree, Donnie. I think there is a good bet there on Thompson. If the Phils are the best team in baseball, putting up historic numbers, Rob Thompson might get the edge over the rookie skipper. We'll go around Major League Baseball next on TEL.
The WNBA is a unique market, right? It moves a little bit different. You take a bet, a limit play, even if the limit is 2 dimes on a side, you don't go from 11.5 to 12. You know what I mean? You got to go. Because if they bet you the second number, then you go, oh boy, now we have a decision that we really didn't think we got a big decision. Books love decisions.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Now joins that team in Sacramento with the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, who they drafted early, Keegan Murray as well. A Kings team, DRS, that has been a playoff contender.
Is it going to equate to a championship? Probably not. That's not the goal. Make your team better every offseason. The Kings definitely got better with that move here, Ben.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Tell me those mics were hot. Please go back on the YouTube stream and figure out if those. That's a shame. Donnie right side always trying to get in one last zinger before we come back. So Rob Thompson, Donnie's award bet of the second half of this MLB campaign. Mine is what we had in the preseason. Tarek Skubal to win the American League Cy Young Award. He was 10-1 before the year, now an odds-on minus money favorite at minus 130. And frankly, it's a two-arm race in the American League. It's Skubal or it's Corbin Burnes. Logan Gilbert has moved up 10-1, Seth Lugo at 18-1, but there's only two guys with a three-digit price. Skubal at minus 130, Burnes at 3-1. And we said, Donnie, earlier on, it's a compelling race because Corbin Burnes could be the ace of the staff for the American League's best team when all is said and done. The Tigers are playing better baseball. Detroit has won 8 of its last 11 games entering the break, but we don't necessarily expect the Tigers to be a playoff team when all is said and done. So normally, team success correlates to individual success, but because individuals also have their own win-loss metric for a starting pitcher, and Skubal is 10-3 on the bump this year with the second-best ERA in baseball at 2.41. I expect him to win the American League Cy Young Award.
Yeah, and look, the trajectory point is there. And also keep in mind, he does pitch in a very pitcher-friendly ballpark in the majority of his starts, which, again, would be at home. That's something to keep an eye on. No slowing him down. We don't have any ideas where we're taking a look at Paul Skeens being shut down at the end of the season. If Detroit's a bad team, they'll shut down Skubal. That's not going to happen. He'll pitch all the way through. Don't worry about the wins here. As long as he gives honest effort each time out, he has every right to win that award. And he is a phenomenal pitcher.
Yeah, he absolutely is. As our producer, Joe Frieso, just texted me, maybe the only thing holding back Skubal is if the Phils or the Dodgers try to trade for him at the trade deadline. I would not expect Detroit to trade away Tarek Skubal. If they did, oh, man, everybody in the Motor City should be ashamed and incredibly mad. Our final pick of the Pick Six, our playoff best bet. What is yours, DRS?
Yeah, it's going to be the Boston Red Sox. I told you, it's my team that I've been watching for quite some time, and I love to bet on this team. They're getting starting pitching and dominant starting pitching for guys you probably didn't anticipate being a great starting pitcher here in 2024. Number two, that young lineup, which is bolstered by Rafael Devers, having a sensational season. We didn't expect much from that young lineup, and they are producing on a night-to-night basis. Case in point, did you watch the All-Star game? Duran is the leadoff hitter, and he's smashing home runs in the All-Star game. A lot of speed on the base pass. They're a fun team to watch. So I'm going to watch them, and my favorite bet, to make the playoffs at a minus 114 price. This team coming out of spring training, not a ton of expectations. What's going to happen? We don't know. Those expectations right now is a team that's playing, double digits over 500 right now. Phenomenal. I expect even better things in the second half of the season, which means Boston Red Sox ownership. You're in a massive market with a rabid frenzy fan base. They're paying a lot of money to watch you play. Go out and spend some money at that deadline and help this team make the playoffs.
The Houston Astros, my playoff best bet as well, but not to make the postseason at minus 160 to win the American League West. They're only one game back. It's their best component. There is a smaller gap from Houston for the first place spot in their division than there is behind the Red Sox. 3.5 games to be even the third American League wild card team. Donnie, if I would have told you that both Seattle and Houston were each 12 and 13 games above 500, and there was only a one-game lead at the break for Seattle in front of Houston, the Astros would be a minus money favorite. Yeah. It's because the Astros are only 4 games above 500, and they struggled so mightily this year. 33 and 14 on June 18th. The fork was out. It was in the Astros. They were cooked. They were well done. No longer. The fork is gone. Houston's going to win the American League West. There's not much to bet on today. It's kind of the Open Championship. But before we say farewell and goodbye, it's time for bye. DRS, what is your best bet on this Thursday?
I don't know. I guess people can still technically bet it at this point, but I took Sepp Straka to have at least a share of the round one leaderboard at 2 under through 9 holes right now as he sits. Again, Justin Thomas is 3 under. The windy conditions out there, the weather is going to be a problem. The second part of that golf course here, the front 9, I should say the back 9, is a little bit easier than the front 9. That's what I'm going off here. But just some action to have on the day. I'm rooting on Sepp Straka to at least tie Justin Thomas here. We'll see if he can get that done.
Yeah, minus 124 JT. We told you to bet it at minus 115. There's a 25% profit boost on FanDuel. Tiger struggling just a little bit in his last 2 holes. His updated round 1 over-under, 75.5. A 75 to go under would be 4 over par. We'll think that Tiger goes under that number. He's Donnie. I'm Ben. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, here on the Early Line.